It's just gone midday on Tuesday. Been a bit of a challenging morning, to be honest. What's really been playing on my mind now is my phone's hardly got any power, and also I'm charging my power pack here. That's the on-the-go power pack. If that fails, I've got nothing to charge my Garmin's, and then I can't navigate. I eventually stayed at that church 2 hours just charging devices in the porch. My priority was navigation, so I got both the Garmin's up to 100%, and then I charged my 2.6 thousand milliamp hours, the small white stick power pack. I just felt a lot more happy about that. I also charged up my phone, but there wasn't much power on that, so I had to use that sparingly. That's what I normally film with for vlogging, and it's got an external microphone with a windsock on. The next day or so I had to do a lot of vlogging on my chest mounted action camera. I do have a wireless microphone for that, which has got a windsock cover to go on it. That is again USB charged, and that just had to go by the by, and so apologies for dropping quality. I tried to tell the story, but of course as I was moving there's some wind noise and obviously a drop in audio quality. After spending nearly 2 hours in that church porch recharging my devices, I left and then it started raining. Could have stayed a bit longer. I picked up a few supplies at the co-op. Didn't really have enough for a meal for tonight, to be honest. I've got my MRE as an emergency, and then been signposted down a no-through road to a mobile home park, and I thought there's probably a footpath at the other end. Well, I got to a gate and it's padlocked, but I just decanted the panniers off the bike, lifted it all over. This looks like an old airfield, to be honest. Just hope I can get out the other side. And I'm round about the distance where East Carlton should be, so can't risk overriding the Garmin right now, because I could well miss the village. A few lefts and rights, and I'm now what looks like more of a country lane or a farm track. Just been passed by a farm vehicle. Didn't beep or tell me off or anything, so I mean, if a car can get through, hopefully I can. Things like this are always a bit stressful though, especially when you know you can't really afford to bypass a no-through road when, you know, this thankful village should be, well, any time now. Phew, back on a country lane. I've just seen the sign, East Carlton, 1 mile. Phew, I honestly beginning to think I'd missed it. According to my back of the flag packet calculation, East Carlton should have been about 16.5 miles, and it's now 19.67. It just suddenly occurred to me, I did about 1.5 mile detour each way, didn't I? That accounts for 3 miles down to that church. I think climbing over that gate, especially with the dog barking there, and the owner was there so he could see what I was doing. I've got a kind of little plan for tonight. Whether it pan out, I really don't know. But if I can find a nice looking parish church that's got a porch, ideally with some mains inside or just on the outside, so I don't get locked out, I may try and bivvy in a church porch. It's so mild at the moment, I don't really need the tent up. I'd be alright in my sleeping bag. So that's a possible plan. Saved me a lot of time and effort tonight and tomorrow. Here we are, the boundary sign for East Carlton. I'm coming up to a main road and my Garmin's indicating I turn left onto that. You may see I'm on the busy A427 road. Just come down from that way, staggered crossroads, Church Lane, East Carlton. I'm having a problem here. I've gone all the way down the bottom, headed for St Peter's Church. It was locked, and I had to look all around the churchyard. I couldn't see it, but to be honest, it's quite overgrown, lots of graves. I'm going to go back and try and find the Commonwealth War graves, because that's the most likely place it'd be. Then I went down into Country Park and I thought, it might be down there. Asked around, even the manager there sort of said, no, try the cricket club, and he pointed me towards the end of the car park. I couldn't find the cricket club. So I think there's a residential street in there. I might just ride down there. Not that I think it's there, just in case I see anybody who might live here. Failing that, back down to the church. If I can't find it, I'll just leave a poppy in the churchyard anyway. It could well be inside the church, I don't know, but the church is locked. Well, I'm in the churchyard at St Peter's, East Carlton. The church is locked and I can't find the plaque. It did say some Commonwealth War graves in here, but I've looked all the way around because that would be the obvious place, but probably go and have a look at the village, see if there's something else. Well, I'm kind of stuck. I'm back at the church, so I can't even find the Commonwealth War graves. It's not obvious where they are. I've tried all the obvious places. Don't know what to do about the poppy. I've even knocked on the church cottage there, but no answer. I think I'm going to carry on down that way. It looks like you may be leaving the village, but having said that, there's no boundary sign there. There is a national speed limit sign, plus the fact there's some more houses down there, so there might be something down there. I'm going to go and try it anyway. I'm dropping out of East Carlton now. I've looked everywhere. I just couldn't really find anyone to ask. It feels like a sort of commuter village as well. Nobody about. I'm just passing the boundary sign. That was my sort of like last chance really. So I've just tied the poppy to the pole there. So that would be coming into East Carlton. I've just come this way. One thing which may explain it, but I think I'm clutching at straws here. Whatever source you use, it seems to sort of vary on how many thankful villages people mention. I've heard it as low as 32, I think. The list I've got is 54, and that's the map I'll put on the screen now, and they're all listed. East Carlton is on that list. But when I was at Old Sodbury the other day, I saw a sign about the bikers delivering all the slate plaques, and it said there, it referenced 53 villages. I've been thinking about that the last couple of days actually. You know, one of the villages may not have a plaque. That's all I can guess at. If there is one up there, I was unable to find it, unless it's in the church. I mean, that would probably be the most obvious, but the church is locked. Anyway, poppy on the boundary sign. Next one is East Norton in 10 miles time. So I've just seen a sign, East Norton 2 3/4 miles. I think that's where this route finishes, this section of the route. So that's going to be quite a milestone, and I'll be starting the next section, part 3. Just crossed the busy A47. You actually turn down a no-through road. Actually, it's been gated. It looks like it used to be the old lane into town. And I've just finished in my track here. It ends Church Lane. Oh, there's the church there, look. This feels much more of a village actually. That other place just felt like a new housing estate next to the main road. Nobody was around, just like a commuter town rather than a village. This feels much more like what I've been used to. Well, it's quite a pull up here over the gravel. Of course, a bit of a push up there, slightly raised. Here's the porch. Oh, a lock there. Let's hope we can get in after last time. Ooh, yes. Oh, we spotted it straight away over there. It's 20 to 5 in the afternoon on day 3, Tuesday of my Thankful Villages tour. I've just arrived at the second Thankful Village of the day. This is All Saints Church, East Norton in Leicestershire. That's what it looked like once upon a time. It's a lovely church, but you've got the very busy A47 bypass, and you can just hear the constant roar of traffic in the background. I've spotted the slate plaque straight away. It's over here. I've placed my poppy just above it. There we are, East Norton, 1914 to 2014, a thankful village. But right above it, etched in the windows, I really wanted to share this with you. You read left to right on both windows. It says, "These windows are dedicated to the glory of God and in thanksgiving for the safe return of all the men from East Norton who served in the Great War, 1914 to 1918. I'm going to need to spend several hours here, and I may even bivvy in the porch, so let me explain. I'm getting very low on power on my power pack. You can see there's just one light flashing there. That's why I may need to spend several hours or even the night here. Try and leave that in as long as possible until somebody comes to lock the church, and I'll see what happens. My priority early on, I spent several hours in a church porch charging my phone up because I needed to phone my wife, and also my on-the-go power pack because that's what charges my Garmin's, and if that fails, you know, I've got no Garmin's, no navigation, so you can see my quandary. Overnight that would probably do that, be a weight off my mind. I've only done 30 miles today, so I say it's been very, very hard weather and everything. I've got a sandwich, so I'm just going to go and eat that out in the porch. I'm not complaining in the slightest because that sort of humbles you when you see that, really, doesn't it? And also nobody forced me to do this, you know. My channel's Andy's Adventures. I wanted adventures, and sometimes, you know, it's going to be hard, and today's been hard. Anyway, time for a snack. Sitting in the porch is because I'm lingering here a long time. I suddenly realise, oh look, a poppy, World War II, 1945. And look at that one, World War I, 11/11/18. Just managed to find somewhere that I can stock up on water. I just found a farm with an outside tap, so I've got plenty, more than enough. Drop back down to East Norton Church now. My plan is to eat my meal on a seat in the sun and then bivvy in the porch as it gets dark, and hopefully keep my devices plugged in all night. Hello, good morning. It's about 3:45 in the morning on Wednesday, day 4 of my Thankful Villages tour. I was going to bivvy out in a porch last night and then charge my devices in here, but there were bird droppings out there which I'd covered, and I was just getting ready to settle down, and an owl flew into the roof rafters, saw me, startled it and flew back out, and I just thought that's unwise spending the night out there. I don't want to get attacked by an owl. I've put £20 in the donation box. Down here I've been charging my devices overnight. If I run out of battery, I can't charge my Garmin's, and if I can't charge my Garmin's, I can't navigate. So any more on the road updates I think are unwise, maybe until I get to York Travelodge, so I'll explain everything on the final video. I don't have to put the tent away this morning, so I can be on the road really early, and I need to try and recoup some of the time and the distance I lost yesterday. Anyway, within an hour I'm going to try and be on the road. This is the church porch about 5 AM. This is where I was going to sleep last night. These sheets had quite a lot of bird mess on, and I turned them over, and luckily they were quite clean this side. I was going to put my German Army ground sheet down there as an extra layer of protection. I was just going to sleep in there because even now, 5 in the morning, it's still quite mild. And then you may see there's quite a lot of bird poo up there. This white owl just flew in, went in there, saw me, just quickly flapped out. It startled me as much as I think I startled it, and I just thought, gosh, if it's nesting in there or doing any sort of feeding and hunting, I don't want to be down here and possibly, you know, be seen as a threat, get attacked, which is what made me decide to sleep in the church. I was really nervous about being locked in last night. That's why when I cooked around the corner, I made sure nothing was in here in case it got locked in. So I put a stone there to make sure I would hear if anybody did lock me in. And I also just put this pencil on a string in the lock. Anybody who tried locking that would have they'd have just made so much noise I'd have heard it. And then I just slept in that first pew there. I slept last night with my towel in my sleeping bag. It's pretty disgusting, but I was taught years ago it's quite a good survival trick. If you want to dry clothes, just put damp clothes in the sleeping bag with you, because your body heat dries it, and it's done that. Just check the weather quickly, and it's nice today. Looks like it's going to be wet again tomorrow. So today's all about distance. There are going to be 3, possibly 4 thankful villages today. Okay, the phone's fully charged. Turned all the things up 4G and Bluetooth off. Try and conserve the power. Turn the screen brightness down. Quick bit about this morning's route, or today's route, should I say. The first thankful village would be Tay, I think that's how you pronounce it, at 14 miles. I'll be looking for Holy Trinity Church. And then at 19 miles, Saxby, St Peter's Church. Then Weisel at 36 miles, Holy Trinity Church. And that'll take my total mileage since I left Bath to 188, possibly a little bit more because I've done a few detours. That's round about the 300 kilometre mark, so about halfway round about then. So anything over that today is just going to be a real bonus. I've got the bike all ready to leave. I've strapped my towel and my wash bag underneath. That's going to be the first thing I'm looking for, is some woodland or a field or something. That's going to be first priority. Just do one last scout around the church to make sure I haven't left anything, and then I'll be locking it all up, shutting the door, should I say. Thank you so much. Literally, I'm very, very grateful. And there's my little puppy over there by the plaque. I'll remember this for a long, long time. So a little bit about my water supply last night. I realised I wanted to stop at that village. I realised there was a chair and a seat outside the church. I wasn't happy about leaving my devices in while I was sat on that, because somebody could easily come around and lock the church while I was there. But I knew I needed water. I had one water bottle still full, so I wasn't dehydrated, but I just knew I needed more water for drinking and cooking and washing. And I scanned around the village looking for an outside tap, to be honest. Even if it's outside someone's house, I was going to knock their door. Couldn't find anything. In the end, this cyclist went by coming from this direction and sort of flagged him down. It's very helpful, just asking where the nearest shop was. I thought maybe if I got on the A47 mile either way, and he said no. He said don't come this way, it's very hard. And he suggested I went back the way I came, which I sort of kicked myself really. Why hadn't I stopped there anyway? I went back up there and it was quite hard actually. I was going into the wind and I got up the top of a hill and I saw a sign saying camping. I thought, well, great, you know, even if I don't camp there, they'll have some water. And I carried on along this gravel track for a mile or so, dropped down to what looked like it used to be a campsite. It was all gravelly. There was a tap there, so I filled up with water. But because of what that guy said, don't come this way, he sort of bigged it up. And I'd bigged myself up for it this morning, you know, thinking the first few miles are going to be pretty tough. And there's a bit of a hill coming up here, but I think he'd had that into a headwind like I had going that direction last night. And I've got a tailwind this morning. I cruised up that hill effortlessly. Not that I'm fit, I just sort of said the wind assisted me. It felt effortless, especially when you sort of psyched yourself up for a hard start. Turns out to be easy. Anyway, meant to mention it earlier on. The route, when I looked at the profile, it looked quite jagged for the first 200 miles, about 190 miles. And then it flattens out, and then there's a spike near the end, just before York. And I'm hoping, as long as there's not a headwind, it will get much easier once I pass, well, the third thankful village of today, round about halfway. I'm hoping the terrain will get a lot easier. Oh, and the other thing is I've got a container of oil, an old contact lens. solution container, and I've oiled my chain this morning. That feels good. And the other thing, yesterday morning when I was a bit stressed out, having very little power left, not sure how long my Garmin's were going to last, I was looking for a church and I stopped at one, couldn't get in, all locked up, no outside sockets, no water tap or anything. And there was a sign there saying, please don't risk your life climbing the tower for the lead, somebody's already stolen it. That was lovely. I was coming along here and I heard this motorbike behind me. In fact, it's a scooter, he's just got up there now, just turned off. It was really hovering behind me and I sort of like slowed down, let him go by. And he's got a top box on the back and there was a aperture in it, the dog's head sticking out, which is why he obviously didn't want to ride too fast. That is lovely. That is just really nice. Just entering what I believe is England's smallest county, Rutland. Do you know, I'd never heard of Rutland until, just shows how influenced you are by culture, until Rutland Weekend TV by Eric Idle. Just pulled up at this level crossing. Cyclist passed me a few minutes ago, so probably the gate's been down for a couple of minutes now, so hopefully the train will be by soon. EMR, East Midlands Railway, I guess. And I've just seen the sign for T, or Tay, however you pronounce it, 1 3/4 miles. That's always reassuring, especially when I do my back of the fag packet calculations. I sort of think, oh, I must be nearly there now, and there's always that worry that I'll ride through a hamlet without even knowing I've been through it. Here we are at the boundary of T. Holy Trinity Church, Tay. So let's hope we can get in here and find the slate plaque. It says there, Holy Trinity Tay, this church is open today, all welcome. Oh wow, this is nice. Wow, it's got a real community feel to the porch. Wow. Okay. Hello. They're just getting ready for service actually, and I was talking to the vicar actually, and very nice. Showed me a few plaques and it's got a name of all the men and 2 of the women. Now I'm guessing these are nurses, I don't know, but I've been, yeah, there's a slate plaque over there. Oh, this is really nice. Yeah, I just felt like I was interloping and a couple of cars have just pulled up, so I think I'm going to remove myself from the churchyard. I sort of wondered on Sunday whether I may be interrupting some church services, and I was surprised that I didn't actually. I really wasn't expecting to disturb one on a Wednesday. There is the plaque, Tay, 1914-2014, Thankful Village. And then it's got a list of all the people who served and returned safely alive. And also up there, look, 1918 to 2018, 3 poppies. So a centenary marking the end of hostilities as well. There's my poppy alongside the others. That stone is very much like a trig point stone. Also, the roll of honour is men only. The vicar inside did say that there were 2 women as well. And I did read on one of the Thankful Village websites that the memorials are to men who served in the forces and to women. I'm guessing women who were nurses. I mean, the most famous one who got killed is Edith Cavell, of course, but you know, plenty of women did serve, and I guess quite a few were killed. I mean, thankfully not here. The 2 survived and returned home safely. Females wouldn't have served in the armed forces in those days, but they certainly do these days. When I was at grown-up school, one of the tutorials, it was quite a common occurrence actually, but I remember the one tutorial, we had to pair up the person on our left and introduce each other. We were given a couple of minutes to sort of find out about each other, and we had to sum each other up in about 60 seconds in front of everybody else. And this one woman, on one of my tutors. She was ex-Navy, and she was the first female ever to serve on a submarine who actually went out to sea. So, you know, certainly women serve on submarines these days. She was the first. I can't remember too much, so I never try and remember more than one at a time. That way I'm less likely to forget. So this is 14 miles. Saxby in another 5 miles, St Peter's Church. So they're coming thick and fast this morning. This is literally on the outskirts of T. Haven't even left the village yet. How wonderful and how fittingly appropriate. Leaving T, on the boundary there was all these poppies that just seemed so apt and appropriate. Snaked along a fairly fast road and then turned down a minor road, which then brought me onto the corner of another road, and of course you don't see the boundary signs, and I just thought my Garmin's leading me up this dead end. This must be Saxby. Thank goodness I sort of took the trouble to do the research, because this would be an easy one to miss. You're on the bend of a sort of like a B road. Lady come out that house with a dog, and I said, oh no, this is a silly question, this is Saxby, is it? She's probably wondering what I'm doing coming up a dead end. She said, yeah. She said, it definitely is. She said, there are boundary signs, but they're all overgrown. And here we are. This is exactly where my Garmin ends. So Saxby Church House. So I'm hoping it's going to be in there. Another lovely place. Look at this. Oh, two of my favourite signs of summer: foxglove and lupins. So I think that's a private residence. It said private on the door, so I'm not going to attempt to go in. It's one of those huts on wheels. Not sure if it's here actually. May have to go down to the village. Damn, I should have asked that lady. A very friendly lady just come out, so I hope I'm not trespassing. She said actually it's a private garden, but you're okay. I told her what I was looking for. She said, oh yeah, that's down the bottom of the road by the tree at the triangle. I must have passed it. She said you'll have to brush it all back, it's quite overgrown, a bit like that lady said about the boundary signs. Here we are, down at the tree by the grass triangle. The lady did say it's on a wooden stump. So that was the way I came in. As I said, I joined this road on this bend, and my Garmin sent me up there. That's when I was doing my desktop research. I just thought head for the church. So this is, I wouldn't say it's easy to miss, but I certainly missed it because I just assumed it's probably up by the church. So this is the most faded one I've seen so far. So I've just tied my poppy on, so a little branch coming off the side. The lady said you might need to sweep all the leaves back, so I guess this probably gets covered in long grass and leaves possibly, which is what accounts for all this. But it's, as soon as I was told where it was, you could spot it straight away. So I just got my notes out. You can see T was at 14 miles today. This is 19 miles, Saxby. And then we're heading for Weisel Holy Trinity Church. It's 36 miles, so what's that? Another 17, isn't it? Oh, and that'll take me to 188 miles from Bath. That's 300 kilometres. So that's round about the halfway point. That's going to be a big place to sort of stop and reflect. Just hoping I come across a shop soon. I'm not short of food. I've got chocolate and things like that, but I just fancy something savoury and maybe a sweet drink. Yeah, pigeons everywhere. I'm glad I went up there actually. The two ladies were very friendly, and as I came out there was a gentleman by his tree. I thought, oh no, I hope you don't think I've just trespassed on his home. He just came down as I was putting the poppy there, giving me a smile. So maybe his wife told him what I was looking for and doing. I've been hoping to find a shop since I left, about 20 miles in now, and I'm just coming into Melton Mowbray. It says, welcome to Melton Mowbray, rural capital of food. It's got that symbol up there. Thought I'd make the most of a dry day, nice sunny weather. Pavement breakfast in Melton Mowbray, just got a fry up coming. First spotting of Weisel, 2 miles to go. Now looks like we're in Nottinghamshire, not CC. Come to a T-junction, my route goes right, but I just need to do this dog leg down to the left. You may see Central Garmin coming to the end of the track, then we'll go back that way, carry on. Church. Here we are. That's right, let the GPS do the heavy lifting. I don't have to think about it too much. Something I learnt as a postman actually, just do a little bit of extra prep when you go out on the road. It'll save you so much hassle out on the road. And that's what I do. I try and make my Garmin tracks end, you know, at a destination or something like a youth hostel car park or a travel lodge, or in this case Thankful Village Church. I'm hoping this will be where it is, you know. That's always my first go-to, is the church. 12:20. Oh boy, did I enjoy sitting in Melton Mowbray on that pavement, just watching the world go by with a fry up and a fizzy drink. Come on. Oh no, it's locked. It's not here. May need to ask someone in that case. I really fancied sitting out here and having a fizzy drink. In fact, I might do it anyway. Garden of Remembrance, right. Garden of Remembrance. It could well be here. Obvious place for it, isn't it? So this is really nice, isn't it? Fairly thick steel plated, two-dimensional tribute to the soldiers, 1914 to 18. Thankful Village with the church as the backdrop. It says Weisel. Holy Trinity, Weisel. Really is a nice village, this. So this is Weisel and Thorpe in the Glebe Village Hall. Here's a good sort of notice board. It says here, Weisel, Thankful Village. The first clock was donated by the villagers of Weisel as a Thanksgiving memorial for the safe return of all of the men from the village who served in the Great War, 1914 to 18. Weisel is one of 41 thankful villages where all those who left to serve returned. And there's one of the thankful soldiers, look, John William Derrick, 1897 to 1979. Wow. That's kind of brought it home for me. I have read that it was suggested at times that thankful villages, that the soldiers returned because maybe they served behind the lines in sort of like office jobs, clerical work. Well, that's just not the case. John William Derrick is an example of that. He served in an active fighting regiment, was promoted to corporal and was in charge of the Lewis machine gun squad. He was injured in March 1918 when a bullet lodged in his calf. After an operation and various recovery hospitals, he was given sick leave and eventually demobbed in 1919. He returned to farm work. When we get to the penultimate village at the weekend, there's a lovely story there which contradicts the idea that the soldiers returned alive because they were doing safe behind the lines work, clerical work. That's just not the case at all. It's just a real remarkable coincidence that some villages, all their men and women, returned alive. The chap just pointed out the seat here, so I'll go along and have a look at that. Again, not sure what to do about the poppy, so I may bring it back, leave it just inside the church porch. Lots of airplanes going over, and I did see a few miles back that It was signposted East Midlands Airport, so I think this must be the flight path. Gosh, that is it's the Second World War bench. Well, I've been at Weisel over an hour now, had a nice relaxing lunch break, and I've also really done a good scan of the village, and I cannot see the slate plaque anywhere. That steel memorial down there was fantastic, and also the information board by the village hall, fantastic. I've decided to leave my poppy here just loose by these flowers, so I'm very reluctant to tie that to the seat down there or the memorial, because it's such a well kept village that just would feel too much like littering for me, to be honest. So the second slate plaque that I haven't been able to find, as this is the 9th thankful village, that means I should have 7 poppies left. So I came away with 16 for the villagers and 1 spare, which the 1 spare is on my handlebars. So there should be 7 poppies in here. Might be good to just check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 to go.